It's bouquet, not bucket. With those 5 words, delivered with sharp precision and comic flair, Patricia Routledge secured her place in television history. For over 3 decades, audiences across the world laughed at her portrayal of the prim, ambitious, and hopelessly snobbish Hyacinth Bucket in Keeping Up Appearances. Yet, while Hyacinth may be her most iconic role, Dame Patricia Routledge was so much more: an actress of breathtaking range, a theater legend, and a woman who lived life with quiet dignity. Now, at the age of 96, Patricia Routledge has died peacefully in her sleep, leaving behind a remarkable career that stretched across theater, television, and film. Her death is not just the passing of a sitcom star, it is the closing of a chapter in British cultural history. Patricia Routledge was born Catherine Patricia Routledge on February 17, 1929, in Tranmere, Cheshire. She grew up in a working-class family, her father a haberdasher and her mother a homemaker. Yet, from an early age, she showed a remarkable gift for language, performance, and storytelling. She studied English at Liverpool University before winning a scholarship to train at the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School. Looking back on those years, Routledge often credited her upbringing for grounding her. "I was never dazzled by fame," she once said. "It was always the work that mattered." Unlike many TV comedians, Routledge began her career in theater, and for decades the stage was her first love. She debuted professionally in 1952 and quickly became known for her commanding presence and extraordinary versatility. She was equally comfortable in Shakespeare and in musical theater. In fact, she earned a Tony Award in 1968 for her performance in the Broadway musical Darling of the Day, and later an Olivier Award in 1988 for Candide. Critics marveled at her ability to move between high drama and comedy with apparent ease. One night, she could be delivering Shakespearean verse with gravity and elegance. The next, she could be belting a comic song with impeccable timing. Then came 1990, and with it, the role that would forever etch her name in television history: Hyacinth Bucket. Keeping Up appearances followed the misadventures of Hyacinth, an overbearing, socially aspirational woman who longed to climb the social ladder. Every episode delivered a familiar but irresistible formula: Hyacinth hosting candlelight suppers, correcting neighbors on the pronunciation of her surname, and mortifying her long-suffering husband Richard. Routledge turned what could have been a one-note caricature into something far richer. She gave Hyacinth not only ridiculous snobbery, but also a strange sort of dignity, as if the character's delusions made her both absurd and oddly admirable. "Hyacinth never thought she was funny," Routledge once explained. "She believed in her mission completely. That's why the comedy worked, because she was sincere in her pretensions." Audiences agreed. The sitcom ran until 1995, was exported to more than 60 countries, and remains one of Britain's most loved comedies. Even today, reruns draw loyal fans who can quote Hyacinth's lines word for word. But Routledge resisted being defined solely by Hyacinth. She left Keeping Up Appearances partly because she felt the storylines were becoming repetitive. "Comedy mustn't be milked dry," she once said. "You must know when to leave the party." And she did just that. After Hyacinth, she turned to other roles, most notably the warm but sharp detective Hetty in Hetty Wainthropp Investigates. The series ran from 1996 to 1998 and showcased Routledge's ability to anchor a crime drama with the same charisma she had brought to comedy. She also delivered acclaimed performances in Alan Bennett's Talking Heads monologues, proving her gift for subtle, layered acting. Unlike many stars, Patricia Routledge guarded her personal life fiercely. She never married and had no children, once remarking that her devotion to acting left little room for a conventional domestic life. "It wasn't a choice against marriage," she explained. "It was simply that life turned out that way. I married the work, really." In 2000, she settled in Chichester, West Sussex, where she became a familiar figure in the community, a supporter of the cathedral, and a quiet presence far removed from the flamboyance of Hyacinth. In 2017, Routledge was made a Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire, DBE, for services to theater and charity. Accepting the honor, she said, "Theater has been my life. If my work has given people pleasure or comfort, then I am content." The award was not just for her performances, but also for her charity work, particularly her support of educational and cultural causes in her later years. Routledge's death at 96 is being marked not only by fans but by generations of actors who saw her as a role model. Her legacy is twofold. She gave the world one of its most enduring comic creations in Hyacinth Bucket, and she demonstrated the power of range. An actress who could sing, make people laugh, break their hearts, and command a stage with Shakespearean authority. Her sayings still echo in the public memory. "It's bouquet," she would insist on screen, correcting anyone who dared pronounce her surname the common way. Off-screen, she offered equally memorable reflections on life and acting. If you're going to do comedy, you must play it straight. If you're going to do drama, you must believe every word. The craft is the same. The truth is the thing. Dame Patricia Routledge's passing feels like the closing of a door on a golden age of British television. For some, she will always be Hyacinth, the woman who embarrassed her family, infuriated her neighbors, and charmed millions of viewers. For others, she will be remembered as a world-class theater actress, a Tony and Olivier Award winner, and a dame who carried herself with elegance. Above all, she will be remembered as someone who devoted her life to her art, who valued work over celebrity, and who gave joy to countless people across the globe. As we bid her farewell, one can imagine Hyacinth herself announcing the news in her own way. It's not the end. It's merely the passing on of standards. Patricia Routledge may be gone, but her laughter, her dignity, and her unforgettable voice will live on for generations to come.